Rampage is based on the 1986 video game by the same name that I used to play in the early 90s in my friend's basement as we chugged Mountain Dew at 3 o'clock in the morning and ate Cheetos. Hey there guys, how are you? So Rampage is the newest video game movie from Hollywood, and we all know how great video game movies are. That's a lie. 99.9% of all video game movies suck, except for Mortal Kombat, which is the best video game movie ever made. I stand by that, and I'm still waiting on a new Mortal Kombat movie. Hopefully it's the next one. This video is brought to you by Stardust, a free-to-download app where you can share your reactions to your favorite TV shows or movies. And make sure you stick around until the end of the video because I'm going to feature your faces right here in this video, your reactions on Stardust to the movie Rampage. And I'll respond to some of them. It'll be a good time. The movie stars a giant mutated monkey named George, a wolf named Ralph, and a huge alligator, and The Rock, and they fight, and that's the plot. In the movie Rampage, you have giant mutated monsters battling each other, and the most unbelievable aspect isn't the giant CG monsters, it's The Rock. He has the inability to die or get hurt in this movie. He pretty much is a superhuman throughout this entire movie. But in the movie Rampage, The Rock is an animal species expert who specializes with apes. He's also an ex-army ranger. He pretty much is essentially the most badass human being on Earth, and he's indestructible. But you know what? That's okay, because he's The Rock. Now this is a big budget monster B movie, and if you took away the $1 million effects and The Rock, the script would feel like a Sci-Fi Channel original TV movie. Now trust me when I say this, I'm not some movie snob, film elitist who loves only art house films that are in black and white and look down on big budget, dumb action movies with monsters fighting and cities falling down and a whole bunch of CG thrown at your eyeballs. I've always loved big dumb action movies like Con Air, The Rock, Armageddon, Tremors. The big difference between all of those movies I just named and the film Rampage, they're both big dumb action films, but those films contain substance and characters that you like and get behind, and you remember some of the things they do or say in their one-liners. In the film Rampage, it's a very sterile, to-the-point film that just feels like a product being sold to you. And that's not to say that The Rock isn't charismatic. The Rock is probably one of the most charismatic action stars that we've ever had, besides Arnold or Stallone. But in this film, he just seems like The Rock. He seems like he's playing the exact same guy he's played in the last 5 movies that he's starred in. With The Rock's latest movie, Rampage, and some of his previous movies, like Jumanji, or San Andreas, or whatever this was called right here, Journey to the Earth Part 2, something something, they all feel like the same movie, stylistically and character-wise. And another reason a few of those movies might look the same and feel the same is because they're directed by the same man who directed Rampage, Brad Peyton, who also directed Journey 2 and San Andreas. They all sort of have that muted color palette that looks gray, and it reminds me of the color of concrete. It's like he desaturates it and tries to make your eyes tired when watching the movie. And you might be thinking that's sort of an odd nitpick to say, but when I watch movies, I really notice the color grading, and films like Rampage, which is based on a 1986 video game, I feel like they could have upped the vividness of the color palette and really just made things pop. Now the biggest question is this a good video game movie? And it's based on a game called Rampage. I do feel like if you like the game Rampage and you like to see mutated creatures such as a giant gorilla named George and a giant wolf named Ralph fight a lizard, you will get that in the last 15 to 20 minutes of the movie. And that felt like straight out of the game Rampage when I used to play it. But getting to that point is exhausting. Until you get to the climax of this film, the first 2 acts are clunky, they're boring, and you really feel the runtime adding up because the movie doesn't have much substance to give you. Now this movie does contain a few humanized villain antagonists who are responsible for these mutated creatures, and they are the most cartoon characters, void of logic and one-dimensional as you could possibly create. And they completely set themselves up for failure throughout the entire movie, and when it happens, you're not surprised. You saw it coming for the last hour and 25 minutes. When it comes to this movie, it really felt like the script was very lazy and they didn't care about what happened for the first 2 acts of this film. They just wanted to get you to Chicago so monsters could destroy buildings. And that's fine. I love that. That's what I went to see in this movie, and they gave me that. They delivered for like 10 minutes. They gave me what Rampage the game was all about, destroying shit. So yeah, 2 thumbs up with that. And the truth is, this is one of the better video game movies but it's still not a good movie. So that doesn't really say much with video game movies. So I'm going to give the film Rampage... Actually, no, hang on. There's nothing there. I'm going to do something else. That's the people's elbow. I'm going to give this film a C-. Alright guys, that's my take on the movie Rampage. Now here's my question for you, and let me know down below in the comments section. What did you think about the movie? Or what is your favorite movie starring The Rock? If I had to pick one, I'd probably go with The Rundown or maybe The Scorpion King. And now here comes the really fun part of the video where I can feature your guys' reactions from Stardust right here on my channel, so I can look at your faces. And if you don't know what Stardust is, it's a free-to-download app for movie and TV enthusiasts where you can share your reactions or watch other people's reactions, and I love it. It's the first place I share my quick reactions after I leave the theater on new movies, or some movies I never get a chance to talk about on YouTube. So if you want to see those videos amongst a whole bunch of other people's videos, some of my friends from YouTube make videos on there, it's a good time. I'll put the link down below, and make sure you follow me, the Flickpick, on Stardust.
What's up everybody, Nick Major here. I just saw Rampage in 3D. If you can't tell by these glasses, I would highly recommend that movie. If you like to see things that are bigger and more muscular than Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson in 3D, check it out. If you're a fan of the video game, it is so much fun to see those shots of the animals destroying cities like we used to in the old arcade games, and I was actually thoroughly impressed by what this movie ended up being. So check it out. Straight up action film, a lot of fun CGI, especially in 3D. I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5.
If you want to see a big muscular creature, just watch more of my YouTube videos. I'm going to edit that out. No, I'm not.
So Rampage might be the best video game movie I've seen, which really wasn't that high of a bar to leap. It was pretty low. I mean, it's entertaining. The Rock has his charisma. All the monster sequences are a ton of fun. Some of the special effects are pretty good. Sometimes they're very CG. I mean, if you take it in the right mindset, this is going to be a goofy monster movie, and I'm a sucker for those, then you're going to enjoy it.
Best video game movie ever? I'm going to disagree with that. I'm going to stand by Mortal Kombat being the best video game movie ever. But at least Rampage kind of was entertaining for the last few minutes.
Just got out of another screening with Real D, and I got to see Rampage. It is so much fun. Definitely check it out with a big group of people in the theater. The 3D is so much fun. The Rock is awesome, and the monsters fighting each other is something you definitely do not want to miss.
I would somewhat agree with that 3D comment, because there are moments throughout this movie when the city's breaking and crashing down and the monsters are fighting. The 3D felt justified.
That was the most Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson movie I've ever seen. Just the most Johnson.
I would agree. We got a lot of Johnson in this movie.
Alright guys, so I just watched Rampage in 3D, Real D 3D, I don't know if you can see that. Anyway, it's awesome in 3D, what do you call it, the visual effects, special effects, whatever the hell, effects, 3D effects, super awesome. I love the animals, the creatures were amazing, especially George. George has a special place in my heart. I think it's hard for me because I love The Rock and George. Go watch the movie so you know how cool George is.
I agree with you on the effects. Some of the CG work in this movie looked really great. The monsters fighting, George, the giant ape, I thought he looked phenomenal at times throughout this movie. I really thought the giant lizard looked really good too. It almost looked better than what Godzilla looked like a few years back. Once again, thank you guys for the reactions. I tried to share as many as I possibly can, but definitely check out Stardust. It's a great community of people who love movies and TV shows. And if you guys want to share your reactions or watch other people's, I highly recommend it. Link down below. And before I go, make sure you look out for an upcoming video here on the Flickpick channel. It's a spoiler discussion video with my good pal Chris Stuckman, where we talk about the film A Quiet Place. That's a great time. So as always, guys, make sure you subscribe. That way, I can see you next time.